my guitar players out there. This is the headless video where we focus on the guitar so you can see what we're talking about. So as I said in the introductory video, what we want to do today is take our Brown Eyed Girl double stops, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1, right? They're based off of, that's in the key of G, but we want to be able to, if we want, move them around. Now, just to give you a quick example, if we want to play in the key of A, we could always capo fret 2, play our G chord here, our Brown Eyed Girl double stop, stay in the same place. Remember, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. So the capo does the same thing, but imagine we didn't have the capo. So this is going to give you a little map of how to move these things all over to all the different keys. But remember, this is the important thing. We're going to stay with the same shapes on the same strings. Strings 3, the G string, and 2, the B string. Now let's look at them in G one more time. Remember that our first position is just open. Those two strings open. But to make this easier, imagine that whenever you're playing open, look at my finger here, you're playing, you have an imaginary finger back here, let's say. It's this nut is doing the work. So basically you want to think of these as fretted at the same fret. Then position 2, this string moves up 2 frets and this string moves up 1 fret. Our little staggered position. Then both these fingers move up 2 frets together to get our third position. Then our fourth position, remember, they come back together at the 5th fret. So hopefully this is not new information to you. You've watched the first video. So this is the important thing I want you to see here. These double stops on these strings are actually based on your A chord. And the reason for that is if you make your A chord, imagine making that here, notice how you have strings 2 and 3 fretted at the same fret. Some people, if I made a bar there to make that same A chord, you might be able to see that easier. In the key of A then, that is our position 1. And position 2 should look the same moving up the neck as it did in G, just on different frets. Remember, this string, the G string, goes up 2 frets. I'm going to use my third finger. And the second string goes up 1 fret. I'm going to use my middle finger. So position 1, position 2, position 3, slide both up 2 frets. So now we're at fret 6 and 5. And then our fourth position is going to be up at the 7th fret. Both fretted at the 7th fret. A little bar, you can use 2 fingers. 4, back down to 3, to 2, to 1. So now we have them in the key of A, because we bar here. A, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. Okay, so let's look at those relative to G. G is as if we've taken this A and backed up 2 frets. We're back to open. 1, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. Take this up 1. If we did it 1 fret, we'd be in A flat. We don't play in A flat too much, but just to show you, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. So notice that the shapes and the distances are what stay the same. Now how you know what key you're playing in is where you put this A chord. When you play it at the 2nd fret, it's an A chord. We all know that, right? So we're playing them in the key of A now. And all the same rules apply for using them. Key of A, 1, shape 1 works for 1. Position 2 works for a 5 chord. Position 3 works for a 1 chord. Because it all sounds the same, that should make sense. Position 4 works for the 4 chord. And so on, back down 3, 2, 1. Now the thing to know, this is the last little piece of the puzzle. This A chord is actually, if you move it up 1 fret, that's now a B flat. Now some of you guitar players might recognize this shape. It's what we call a bar chord. You're basically playing the A chord here, and you're just getting a finger back here to make this, because if these go up 1, that has to go up 1. We're not worried about all these strings, we're just worried about strings 2 and 3, so we don't have to worry about that. We can go from A, up 1 fret, 3rd fret now, B flat. Both strings at the 3rd fret, it's B flat. Go up the same position ladder. Position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. Okay, that's B flat, because A, B flat. Here is B natural. This should be getting simpler now. I won't. Now when we get up to here, this is an interesting kind of music theory thing. If this was B natural, this is now C. There's no sharps or flats between B and C. Just memorize that, guys, it's important. This is now C. 1, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. Okay? So look at position 1 for C. This is just something interesting to realize. Let's go back to G for a second. Position 1, position 2, position 3. Now our position 4 in G is the same as our position 1 in C. That's why it works with the 4 chord, because the 4 chord in G is C. Basically what we're doing is we're sort of starting over. We're getting to the beginning of C. We're adding that to our 3 positions, just for some, hopefully not confusing information, but some information, okay? So take these Brown Eyed Girl double stops and move them up one at a time and just sort of see if you can name them as you go. That was key of G. Key of G sharp or A flat. Make the sound should really be your guide. Ba, 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 ba. That's A flat. Here's A. Ba, 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 ba. B flat. C. I jumped up to B. C. I'd like you to find D on your own. Should be a simple math equation. Okay, so play around with those and we'll come back and we'll do a little play along in some different keys.